Number 10, I got my notes right here, so you guys will have to excuse me. My first movie I have is Isle of Dogs, which kind of was one of my favorite animations of the year. A film written by Wes Anderson. The story is set upon in Japan, following a young boy searching for his dog after he is banished to an island after falling of an outbreak of canine flu. Which I love this movie because it was just different. Because in the world of pretty much everyone is doing this different animations, you come with someone with this almost kind of like Play-Doh kind of doll type animation, which he is pretty much known for, which is Wes Anderson is known for doing his distinct animation, to tell a story about, the classic story about a dog and his boy, but it was also a very funny movie, and it was interesting because the main character was Japanese and he didn't speak English, but the dog spoke English, and kind of like everyone around telling the story kind of spoke English and some spoke Japanese. So that was interesting dynamic of how they used the different kind of language barriers. And it was just such a beautiful story and such a beautiful animation, the way things were just done. And hilarious. It was very, very funny. And number 9, probably one of my favorite horror movies of the year, A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place revolves around a family facing the struggles in a post-apocalyptic world inhabited by blind monsters with an acute sound. With Emily Blunt and Millicent Simons. I can probably never say his name. I'm pretty sure that's incorrect, but because they're actually husband and wife in real life, so I thought that was an interesting choice for them to do a movie together. This is one of the best horror movies of the year because you never found out exactly like where these monsters came from. And actually, to let you know, the sequel has actually been lit, so it's actually come out in May 2020. So I don't think it gave you that sense of no one knows how they got here, or where these things come from. You left with more questions than you are answers, and it kind of makes you upset. But the way they play along the movie, you kind of understand. Like, wow, I kind of like the way how they did it. So maybe they left it that way so they could do the sequel. And I'm hoping the sequel is a prequel so I'm hoping the sequel may be a prequel. So, but that's my number 9. My number 8 is Avengers Infinity War. Hands down, probably one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. After a decade and over 20 different Marvel movies, we finally get a final glimpse into Thanos as him and the Avengers go toe-to-toe as they try to stop Thanos from getting 6 Infinity Stones and wiping out half the world's population. Well, excuse me, half the universe's population. A great story, and of course the graphics were incredible. It's interesting to put how they're gonna end things, like, because the ended was really depressing. Like, it left a lot of people depressed. But Thanos, we found out why Thanos was the baddest man in the universe. The fight scene on his homeworld, and then I think Thor, to me, had the best scene in the entire movie when he came in Wakanda with the Stormbreaker. I was like, love it. Number 7, I was gonna give it to The Incredibles, but I switched it up and wanted to give it to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I just recently did a review on this. But Into the Spider-Verse is probably one of my favorite animations of the year. Next to Isle of Dogs, of course. I just thought this was an interesting movie choice because it was a story of Miles Morales and all these different under spider heroes. It was made almost in a CGI but / comic book style. It touched on all these different spider people that were into this movie, but they never took the main focus off Miles Morales' character. And of course, the Kingpin was pretty much the main centralized villain. And you also got other villains that we weren't expecting to see. Miles' uncle was a villain. Also, you got to see Scorpion in Dr. Octavius, who a lot of people didn't expect to see, who I didn't know in this universe was a woman. I loved how the story kind of built Miles up to become the Spider-Man. Like, he never just start off kicking butt. Number 6, Widow, starring Viola Davis. This movie basically was about a group of women who attempted to do a heist in order to pay back their husband's debts. Also starring Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, and newcomer Cynthia Erivo, and also Daniel Kaluuya, who we do know from Get Out and Black Panther, who I thought Cynthia and Daniel in this movie had breakout roles. Cynthia is also, like I said, Bad Times at the El Royale, which came out earlier this year, which was a great role for her as well. And Daniel Akua in this movie to me was awesome. Like he wasn't the main villain, but he should have been. And of course Viola Davis in this movie was just she's Viola Davis. She's you can just say she's the GOAT. And I just love how these women had to come together to do this certain heist. And a lot of people didn't see the heist coming because I thought this was going to be like a traditional, I thought it was going to be like a set-off movie where they're doing a string of robbery. It was about one specific robbery. That's what I liked. And a lot of people didn't see coming who they did rob. Number 5, Bodied. The movie Body is about a student who becomes a competitive battle rapper after being immersed in the rap scene, working on his thesis paper. And I love this story. It was directed by Joseph Kahn, and it was produced by Eminem. Joseph Kahn, who a lot of people, if you do not know Joseph Kahn, he's directed a lot of top music video artists, Britney Spears, Eminem, DMX. And, to come and see his vision to doing a satirical comedy about battle rap, to me, the way the movie was done was
trying to tear you apart.
I don't know if I should slap you like a bitch or punch your face like a man. Cause I keep switching from open palm to a fist, like a white boy, shaking your hand.
Actual G's, you ain't kill none. So shut the fuck up and chill some. Just cause you look like Kim Jong-un doesn't mean you're ill, son.
It was satirical and it was serious, like towards the end. So you're like, oh, you think this little corny little white guy rapping, and then he actually spits very well. Like he can rap. Also, you can see Bodied right now on if you have YouTube Prime, you can actually just type in Bodied and you can watch the whole movie. So I definitely suggest everyone to go watch Bodied. Number 4, Creed 2. Creed 2 bases the story of Adonis Creed reprising his role as Michael B. Jordan as he faces Victor Drago and his son, Ivan Drago, to whom many may know, Ivan Drago killed Adonis' father 33 years prior, and now his son Victor is coming to basically challenge Adonis and take the title. To me, this was a great movie. I always kind of go back and forth between what was better, Creed 1 or Creed 2. I think Creed 1, it still was a good movie, but Creed 2 to me had a little more emotional appeal into it. Like you kind of felt for the main characters a lot more in this. You kind of more emotionally invested in part 2. My favorite movies, one of my favorite boxing movies. I just love Creed. I can't wait for it to come out on DVD because that last fighting scene at the end, I was just like, that was one of the best fighting scenes I'd seen in a boxing movie in a very long time. And number 3, Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians was one of my favorite movies. I remember when this movie first came out, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, man, I have to go see this. Crazy Rich Asians is the story of Rachel Cho and Nick Young. Rachel is dating Nick for about a year, and Nick wants to take her home to meet his family. Which Rachel doesn't know is Nick's wealthy, as in they own a large part of Singapore. Rachel being able to be accepted to their cultures, even though she's Chinese, still Chinese American, which in their eyes, she's not one of them. So it was interesting dynamic seeing this movie. For us, if you're black or if you're white, we don't know. We weren't raised, in their culture. So to see someone else kind of going over there and not being accepted, even though they are one of them, but they aren't, it was a good dynamic to see how she stuck in with the movie, how she dealt with the turmoil between the family. Especially one of my favorite romantic comedies. Like, I can watch that movie all day and have no problems. And it also did well at the box office. And the good thing about this movie is it's based off a book, and there's 2 more books, so hopefully they'll do 2 more movies. And my number 2 movie of the year is Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th installment of the franchise. In this installment, Ethan Hunt and his team must track down the missing plutonium while being monitored by the CIA. Angela Bassett and Henry Cavill join the cast. To me, this was one of the best Mission Impossible Fallout. almost kind of just put life back into this franchise. It was amazing. The stunts that they did, of course, Tom Cruise is known for doing his own stunts. The stunts were probably one of the best I've ever seen. It actually is, a lot of people call this one of the best action movies of all time. Like, so that's how good this movie was. But you do have to see the previous Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, because you will need to know to find out who the villain is. They pretty much have the same villain in the Rogue Nation to this one. So you don't have to see all the Mission Impossibles, but you do have to see the previous one to actually get the full grips of it. And my number one, of course, Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman stars as Black Panther. Was one of the biggest movies of 2018, making almost $700 million. And it just brought a whole new dynamic as far as black actors. Like I said, also with my number 3 was Crazy Rich Asians. This has been a big year for diversity in Hollywood, with Crazy Rich Asians and Black Panther being two of the biggest movies out of this year. To me, calling Black Panther just more than a movie, there was also calling it kind of like a life-changing event, because it was the first, it took us to Africa. Like, we got to see, when you went to the movies, it was crazy to see people were dressed up, you know, in their full African attire, you know, drums beating, you know, this was almost more than just a movie. It was an event. And not only was it was an event, it was a great movie. The cast pulled together was with Chadwick Boseman, with Lupita as well, Angela Bassett. They had Forrest Whitaker, you know, and of course Michael B. Jordan. What a great year it was for him for not only Black Panther but Creed 2. Was probably one of the best villains I had seen since the Joker. So the movie ended up making $700 million and became one of the highest grossing movies of all time. So so what can we say? We're all looking forward to Black Panther 2, which is slated for sometime, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020. So I'm excited. But tell me, what was your favorite movies of the year? As always, please subscribe. And this was my list for the 2018. Now, 2019 is going to be hopefully even bigger and better. You best believe I'm going to be doing my top of 2019, but let's get through the year first. As always, thank you everyone who has subscribed to me. It's like I said, this has been a new channel, so I'm going to try to continuously bring you guys the top movies, movie reviews, and I'm going to try to do more TV shows and video games this year. But as always, guys, I hope you guys have a great New Year's. Be safe, and Mr. Movies is out.